You're listening to Brainwork Framework, a business and marketing podcast, brought to you by focus-biz.com.
Hey, it's Chris Troka, the host of the Brainwork Framework podcast. So excited for our next guest. She is a holistic healer, Mayim Vega with Mayim Vega LLC, helps people unlock their inner healers. We're going to talk about detox, other health topics, and just overall health and well-being. Mayim, so excited to have you here. How are you?
Hello. It's a good day. Kind of a busy day because we're celebrating some Jewish holidays right now. And for those of you that don't know, Jewish holidays are like a month long each.
Well, I totally understand you're busy, but do want to dive more into these topics and learning more about you. Tell us more about your entrepreneurial journey. What were you doing before, and how did that lead you into what you're doing today?
Yes. So I was formerly a computer scientist at the NASA Ames Research Center in Moffett Field, California, before we moved out here to Texas. And then in 2003, I got married and had my first child. I have 7 now of my own. And I took the standard like 6 months off paid leave. But when I went back to work, and they had a really great program for childcare, it was right outside the security gate. And I could go there and breastfeed him while I was on my lunch and stuff like that. I wasn't happy and I wanted to be at home, be a stay at home mom. And when I told my husband about that, he's like, well, we can't do that because you make too much money and we're here in the Silicon Valley, which it, it was very expensive then. I heard it's even more expensive now. I heard it's more expensive than living in New York, so that it's like basically the most expensive place in at least in America to live, the Silicon Valley, 'cause that's where Google and Netflix and all those guys started. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be an entrepreneur then. And I didn't know any entrepreneurs. My spark for entrepreneurship began with a really sleazy, cheesy info that I saw in high school. It was like this business opportunity, and you can make money from home doing this simple thing. And I didn't know what it was. And I convinced my parents to sign up for it, and I got it. And it was really weird. If I remember correctly, it was like you clip coupons and then you turn them in. They were telling you to be kind of act like a fake grocery store and get the money from I don't know. It was really weird. I was like, this doesn't sound right. Well, I guess I can't do this. But they lit that fire in me to be an entrepreneur. So I was like, I didn't know any entrepreneurs, but I'm sure if I can work at NASA, I'm sure I can do something from home. And I got into digital marketing because that was the easiest thing I could do as basically as a programmer is to do digital marketing. That was like easy compared to rocket science. So I became a digital marketer and mostly for high tech companies, cybersecurity, because that's what was there like in the Silicon Valley. And then I got really sick and I had a personal health crisis and I tried to deal with it myself by taking Tylenol and whatnot. And then it just got too painful. Nothing worked anymore over the counter, anyways. So I asked my husband one night to rush me to the emergency room because I couldn't function. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't work. I couldn't take care of my children. It got so bad. So we went to the emergency room and the doctor thought that I had a brain tumor. So they ran a bunch of tests on me. And then they said, oh, well, good news and bad news. Good news, you don't have a brain tumor and there's nothing wrong with you. And bad news, you have a really bad headache and there's nothing we can do for you. So I was like, okay, wow, this is crazy. How can there be nothing wrong with me? I was an expert at my field and I expected them as doctors and hundreds of thousands of dollars in all this medical equipment and the hospital building and all this. I expected them to be experts and be able to offer some kind of help, some kind of relief, but there was nothing. So that's when I set out to become a holistic healer. I was like, if they can't help me, I'm sure I had enough faith that this is not normal for human beings. I don't have to live like this. I refused that reality. And so I started studying nutrition and herbalism and holistic health, also life coaching. And all these things really helped me to develop my own holistic modality, which I call the Aruka method. And this is what I basically teach in my program now. It's aruka.com. It's my website, arukh.com, the Holistic Life Academy. And we offer a holistic healer certification program. When I first launched, I didn't do certification. I was just helping people with everything that I learned. And it's pretty amazing how many people went through the same kind of experience that I did, where either the medical system didn't have any answers for them, or their answer was a slew of different types of medications and or procedures that had tons of side effects and that didn't work at all, but at least didn't even mask symptoms for very long. They were on this roller coaster of different medications and never ever really finding true relief. And so I've been able to help people get off of that roller coaster, either for themselves or for their children or for other loved ones. I also have students who are medical professionals, who are a doctor or a nurse or a medical technician or different things like that, who also realize that there's a lot of things that modern medicine can't do. Modern medicine really isn't designed to truly heal us. It's only meant to help relieve symptoms temporarily, but we were never sick because of a lack of medication. There's something deeper than that. So, in a nutshell, that's how I got into what I'm doing.
That is quite an interesting journey, but I hear very similar conversations being had from other entrepreneurs. They had their own personal issues and problems, recognized they needed a solution, and then suddenly that solution became valuable because other people had that problem as well. So you found your way to kind of bring it all together, help yourself and help others, and eventually teaching, certifying people with this new information. And what did you learn additionally about holistic healing? Because, like you said, modern medicine just treats the symptoms, it doesn't go to the underlying cause. Our bodies are pretty amazing machines if we put the right fuel inside and give it the right supplements. I feel like most of the things that, not to say all, but most things could be healed with some holistic healing. And even there's doctors of osteopathic medicine who do focus more on whole body, more natural remedies as well. So tell us more about the holistic healing, what it entails, how it helps people, and maybe even how it helped you specifically.
Yes. So, I'm writing a book and it's taking a lot longer than I thought, but it's on, okay, what's the title? It's called Do This, Detox That: The Holistic Way to Heal Your Body, Mind, and Soul, or something like that. I forgot the exact title. I went back and forth on variations. But basically, when people think of detox, they just think of some smoothie or something like that. But detox is more than just one thing that you drink or something like that. Detox, especially in today's world, it means escaping and stopping or getting away from all the things that are causing your illness. And that has to do, number one, with your environment. As entrepreneurs, especially online entrepreneurs, one of the biggest dangers to our health is our close proximity to EMFs and how we manage our time with it, getting away from it when we sleep, make sure that we are situated in the room where we get the least amount of damage from EMFs. That's been a huge issue for me and a lot of other people too. Actually, I don't know if you know who Dr. Mercola is. He is writing a new book on cellular health, and he identifies the top three assaults to our health. One of them is EMFs. So it's been a really serious problem because of the rise of technology and 5G and Bluetooth, whatever they come out with next. And the industries that create this technology, there's nothing wrong with it. No, it's completely safe. But independent researchers, not ones funded by the government or by the companies themselves, will say, no, it's not safe. We can't escape it. It's part of our world. It's part of what has made us successful as entrepreneurs. But we do have to make sure that we limit it as much as possible and that we do things to correct the damage that it's done as much as possible. So environment, there's a lot more than just EMFs to an environmental detox. There's water, there's the air we breathe. There's so many things. And then comes our food. What kind of food are we eating? And there's all kinds of misinformation out there. There's people who say that everyone should be keto. This is the best diet for everyone, or everyone should be vegan. And I think all these fads are very dangerous. I believe we have to look at our ancestors and see the way that they ate. And we also have to understand that bio individuality is important. We're not all the same. And some people may need a vegan raw food juice cleanse for a period of time in their life. And some people, like I did, need a carnivore cleanse for a while and only eat animal products for a while, which is how me and many others overcame autoimmune disorder. So it's not one size fits all when it comes to health. And then besides that, all the chemicals that we put on our bodies, there's where we live, the environment that we live, there's the food we eat, and then there's the chemicals that we use on our bodies, on our clothes, in our homes, that when we touch them, we absorb them. Our skin is like a sponge. And we have to figure a way to minimize that and also get them out because sometimes we can't avoid a lot of things. And then there's also the mental and spiritual detox from mainstream media, from toxic relationships, maybe work environments, stressful situations, family situations. There's so many things. And all of these are a part of holistic health and healing. And one pill can never address all of these things.
Yes, absolutely. And everything you mentioned about the medical system needs profit in order to survive. So there's no money to be made in a healthy person. There's no incentive to really fix them. And as you mentioned, the studies and the certification that goes behind rubber stamping some of these products or chemicals, specifically in the United States, I feel we are worse off than some of our European counterparts where everything from the food dye to the food additives and preservatives, everything with the medical system, there's a clear conflict of interest when the study being performed is also funded by the same company who's trying to get it approved or say that it's okay in small amounts or it's not going to hurt or affect you. And as you mentioned before, with EMF, cell phone companies obviously have a conflict of interest to make sure that their products are safe and effective and good enough for use. But what are the real longer term side effects of all this wireless technology that we have available to us? Obviously, sound light produces waves and sound waves, and these frequencies could alter our cells and everything compounds. How do we get back to removing some of those, like you said, the detox? And how do we go into more of like a self healing, allow our bodies to heal themselves? Because again, we are like some incredible machines. Once we take out the bad factors, our bodies can almost self regulate and help to remove a lot of those impurities as well.
Yes, absolutely. So you mentioned one thing, and I'd like to say that I think that as entrepreneurs, we have a special type of personality where we don't follow the crowd. If someone says, "Oh, you need to do this. This is the only thing you can do. You just have to get a job and go to college and accept your pay." Entrepreneurs are like, "Really? Is that true? I don't know about that." And we challenge everything. And so I see that a lot of people or a lot of entrepreneurs are very holistic minded. And I just think that's awesome. It just goes hand in hand with freedom. We're not into any system, whether it's the economic system, financial system, or the modern medical system or FDA or any kind of system. We're not into them dictating our lives. We create our own path. We create our own future. So I think this is very unique for people who are entrepreneurial minded. But anyways, I mentioned many things that we need to do, not in detail, but we need to basically get away from certain things and then we need to replace them with one thing that everything has in common. We have to pursue truth and we have to recognize disinformation and misinformation for what it is. But as entrepreneurs, I think that it's quite easy for us to do that as long as we direct ourselves to do that. But yeah, that's why I believe the key is knowledge. Knowledge is the key to escaping all sorts of oppression, including medical oppression. It's just knowledge, coaching so that you have help through that. And that's what my certification program is all about. I don't diagnose, treat, or prescribe for any disease. I give people strategies. I point them to the right information that they will probably never hear from a medical doctor unless they have one that is not covered by their medical insurance. And I show them how to heal themselves.
And it's so true that entrepreneurs, we kind of march to the beat of our own drum and we look at things differently. I think it's a perception thing that we have where we don't see it through the same lens as the 9 to 5 person may. Distinction on what is the absolute truth, what is disinformation, and what is misinformation, because oftentimes that conflict of interest, we find the misinformation is coming from the mainstream media or it is the recommended guideline from our government or governmental agencies. So at the end of the day, we're searching for the truth. We don't believe that it's always the one power telling us this is right or wrong and that's absolute. So we're just kind of seeing with our own eyes, what do we experience? What do we witness? And that becomes our own truths. Entrepreneurs who go into a more healthier lifestyle with clean eating and exercise and proper sleep management and stress management, they can feel and experience the differences. So no, they don't think that McDonald's once a day or even once a week is good for them. They don't live sedentary lifestyles. Entrepreneurs are constantly trying to optimize their own lives because they want to be at 100%, 110% in order to produce and be more effective. versus what we kind of experience. So it's a big difference. It's kind of interesting to see these similarities between all of the entrepreneur business owners out there. We just see things differently.
Yeah, I heard the other day, my husband told me that he heard that Donald Trump eats McDonald's every single day. And I'm like, well, who cares?
You're like, what
Okay,
does that
just
mean for
because
me then?
that doesn't mean that I'm going to eat McDonald's every single day and be healthy. I don't know what's going on with him, but whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
I
some
don't know if this
people that they can abuse their bodies more than others and get away with it. But that doesn't mean that something is harmless. I just want to make that side note because
absolutely.
he's an
And
entrepreneur, right?
right, of course, the pros and cons to whether a political candidate or just a person in general. I don't believe that Donald Trump is the role model for health and fitness, unfortunately.
Or
But he can enjoy and live his life as an American in the way that he sees fit. And that's great for him. But again, it's a personal life choice, and our bodies kind of react differently to different things. So it's important to listen to your own body, listen to what it's telling you. And even for yourself, you experienced, hey, my body is telling me something's wrong here, and you're trying to fix it. What did you find that like ended up working best for you, or did something actually help to cure the headaches? Was there something
yeah.
for the
Hmm.
symptoms, or was it more the underlying cause?
It was both. So the first thing that I discovered was back when Google was reliable. I don't believe Google is reliable when it comes to holistic health information anymore because they get money and are policed by pharmaceutical companies and the government and stuff like that. So I don't rely on Google anymore. But back in that day, it was more unbiased. And I don't know if it was some kind of holistic practitioner. He recommended B12 and feverfew, right? And so I took the B12. I don't think I ever took the feverfew at that time. And immediately my migraines disappeared. So I was like, huh, okay. So my migraines are due to a B12 deficiency, right? But then that's still not really understanding the root cause. Then with my studies, I realized that a B12 deficiency comes from a lack of nutrients primarily from animals. And I thought I was being healthy at that time by eating a vegetarian/vegan diet. And I realized that I had to stop that. So I started eating more animal products. And then I didn't need the B12 anymore. And then I said, okay, well, but there's a lot of vegetarians and vegans out there, and they're not all getting migraines like me. And so this is really where life coaching comes in. I was becoming deficient in B12, not only because of my vegetarian diet, but because of my extreme stress that I was facing as I was building my first business as an entrepreneur, late nights, difficult clients, different things like that. And so I was like, okay, I need to chill out. I need to just trust God more and that trust the process. I always compare entrepreneurship to farming. You plant the seed, you water, and way later you finally get a crop. Maybe if there's not some kind of natural disaster or animals that dig up. I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to fight. And that's what entrepreneurship is like. So it requires a lot of faith, a lot of perseverance, a lot of diligence. And I wasn't used to that coming from a regular 9 to 5 job. And so that was one of the things that I had to work on was my mindset. That's why I believe life coaching is a very important part of healing because that is the way that I and many others, especially entrepreneurs, that we use to achieve our goals, whether they be in the field of health and healing, business, family relationships, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. It is so true that we kind of wear ourselves thin when we go from that 9 to 5 into an entrepreneur or business opportunity. We don't realize how many hats we have to wear. And suddenly it's all on us. There's no one else to delegate these tasks to unless you have some initial capital. Usually it's just us trying to make short term sacrifices for a long term goal. So here we are burning the midnight fuel. We are unfortunately hurting our own bodies. We're kind of neglecting ourselves in order to focus on our business, but it's important that we eat the right food, we get the good enough sleep, but also that community, that mindset is so
Yeah.
important to be with like-minded individuals who are having the same struggles. So you don't feel like you're going alone because entrepreneurship, it can be a little bit dark and dim unless you're kind of getting yourself out there. You feel like you're alone, but in reality, every other business owner, entrepreneur is kind of going through very many similar struggles.
Yes. And my non-entrepreneur friends, if I were to tell them my struggles, they'd just be like, well, just quit, get a job. It'll be easier. I was like,
But that's not an option for
no,
us, right?
that's
No,
not
this
an
is the
option.
only option. Like we
No.
couldn't fathom going back to that 9 to 5 ever.
No. And plus, I wanted to be there for my children. I actually homeschooled my 7 children. My oldest is 20 years old. He graduated with a computer science degree and he's an entrepreneur now too. And I've instilled that dream in him. And I wouldn't want to give up on that. I mean, that has enabled me to surpass my income at NASA, working less hours. I mean, it's very hard to go back once you've gotten a taste of successful entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. And that's not to say with our original business idea or what direction we thought we might want to go in, actually turns into a profitable idea. We may have 8, 9, 10 failures or just pivots when we say, hey, let's recraft things, let's move in a different direction in order to become profitable. Some of us get lucky on the first try. Some of it just takes a little bit of tweaking as we go along, but eventually we kind of find our way or make things happen. I think we're just go getters. Not that other people aren't ambitious, but we are willing to take that risk for the possibility. Like you said, it's planting seeds, it's growing them with that hard labor in the beginning, hopefully for a return later. But it's a challenge, but I wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah, I think another important part of it too is passion. If you don't have the passion for what you're doing for your business, for helping people in the way that your business serves them, then it's very hard to get through things. And so I think one of the reasons why I started my holistic health business is because it just kept calling me. It wasn't that my first business wasn't doing well. I still, just like my children called me to do my first business, well, my healing journey called me to do this new business venture as well. So I think following your passion is another important aspect of it.
Absolutely. It's going to keep you motivated when times get tough and you hit that obstacle and you're going to say, is it worth going through this stress and this pain to get that end result? And if you're passionate enough, I feel like you're going to stick with it. Now, for listeners out there who are interested in learning more about you and kind of getting started along this holistic healing path, where can they find out more about you and get connected with you online?
Yeah, well, the Aruka.com website, ARUKAH.com, that's where I offer the Holistic Healer Certification Program. And that's the certification includes naturopathic herbalism, holistic life coaching, and online business and marketing. Because obviously, herbalists and life coaches there's not a lot of high paying jobs for that. Not that we can't make a lot of money, but we become entrepreneurs and forge our own path. And for people who aren't interested in that, I have two other coaching programs as well, and also do speaking and on summits and stuff like that. My main website that links to everything else is mayimvega.com. That's MAYIMVEGA.com.
That is wonderful. And we'll have the links available down in the show notes and the description so you can get connected with Mayim Vega here. Because you have this background within the business entrepreneurship, the science, you have the digital marketing. What has been the most effective strategy for you for building your business in terms of marketing? Are you running a bunch of ads? Did you hand out some flyers? Are you doing networking, connecting? What's been the most profitable for you?
For me, I do the Gary V method. So it's basically organic marketing, following up with relationships. And organic marketing is I'll make one piece of content. Sometimes I'll start with an ebook and then do a video about that. And I'll put that one video everywhere. So YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, Brightian, Gab. Like I get leads from sources that I don't even spend time on myself, but it's like there's people there. Of course, my podcast, and it doesn't really matter how big your following is. You just have to be speaking your message and to the right people. That's what I found. So just that content. And when I was creating content, putting it out there before I even really had an offer to sell. And that was great because I was building my audience. So when I finally did start offering services, I already had an audience of people that loved me and they were like, yes. And they felt like they knew me. They felt like I was their friend. I'm like, that's awesome. I'm so glad you trust me already before I even sold anything. So building relationships with people through organic content. And of course, you can also boost that content with ads, with paid ads. And I do that as well.
I love that strategy. One, it helps build that trust and credibility, and you become more likable when you put your face on a screen and people get to connect with you. Like you said, they feel like they know you personally, and you didn't even have an offer to sell. You eventually came down the road, and your audience was very receptive to that idea. And I'm telling my clients all the time is you either need to get found or get in front of the right people. And that content piece is a brilliant way to be able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting on podcasts like this, speaking at summits, live events as well, networking events, in addition to your own content as well.
Absolutely. For most businesses, sometimes it is trial and error when it comes to marketing because you want to see what message is going to resonate with the right audience. And Sometimes you don't know where they're going to be or what is going to bring you the most profit. At the end of the day, when you run and crunch the numbers, you'll find which one brings you lowest conversion rate. You're going to find which one is actually bringing in the more high ticket clients or the frequency. So this is something that you kind of put into your marketing plan, but you kind of figure out along the way. Life business is just a series of experiments, and we're kind of figuring things out as we go.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Mm.
Any last words of advice or wisdom you'd like to share with our audience of entrepreneurs and business owners?
Yeah, I think especially for entrepreneurs, I think it's really important to remember that success isn't just about finances, not just about wealth. Success is holistic. If you don't have good health, it's hard to enjoy anything else. So, not neglect your health and also your personal relationships, because there are some things that money can't buy. And there are people who are very rich and don't have people to love or who love them, and they are miserable. And so, not to neglect people who love you just the way you are without any other requirements. And also your personal and spiritual success, to make sure that you're aligned with your values and doing what the thing that you believe in, that you feel good about, and not just something that is not aligned with who you truly are.
Very well said and all true. You're tugging at my heartstrings. You are speaking the truth. Absolutely. We appreciate you coming on and sharing your words of wisdom here with all of us. Congratulations on your past success, your current success, and we're so excited to see what you do in the rest of 2024 and beyond.
Thank you so much, Chris. It was a pleasure speaking with you today.
Same here. Thank you so much.